With the US and Israel now actively at war against Iran after an unprovoked joint attack, I am going to tell you about the last time the US invaded the Middle East and why. On March 20th, 2003, the US invaded Iraq after a year-long campaign by the Bush administration to convince the entire world that Iraq had weapons of mass destruction. I joined the Marine Corps a week later, thinking I was going to be serving in the war of my generation. Only 5 weeks later, President Bush made an infamous speech declaring that the mission was accomplished in Iraq, right before what became a 20-year-long, $8 trillion war that claimed at least 1 million lives, 7,000 of which were American troops. But what was the point? Who benefited from this? Because it certainly wasn't America. Well, let's go back to a famous general named Wesley Clark, who blew the whistle on the real agenda. Clark was not an amateur. He was once the supreme commander of all NATO forces in Europe. He revealed that immediately after 9/11, the military was already discussing a plan to go to war with 7 countries in the next 5 years, even though none of them had anything to do with 9/11. The first 6 nations Clark mentioned were Iraq, Syria, Lebanon, Somalia, and Sudan. And during the War on Terror, all of them were attacked or otherwise overthrown. That was because the Zionist agenda was to destabilize the entire region with manufactured insurgencies, which Clark explained were created by the CIA and nurtured in nations that were actually US allies, like Saudi Arabia. Over the course of the next decade, every powerful anti-Zionist government surrounding Israel was brought down. That is what later allowed Israel to engineer the genocide of Palestinians in Gaza, wiping out hundreds of thousands of civilians. And they got away with it, largely because all of the powerful regional governments that would have stepped in to stop this bloodbath had already been taken out by the United States during the War on Terror. All along, it was actually a clearing operation using the US military in service of the Zionists. At the end of Clark's list, there was one nation left, and it was last on purpose: Iran. This is the only large Muslim power left in the region that has not bent the knee to the Zionist agenda, and Israel needs it to be neutralized in order to commence with its Greater Israel Project, a plan for Israel to take possession of nearly the entire Middle East. Looking back, I'm proud of my military service, but not because of what I served. It's because now and forever, I can claim that I put my own ass on the line for what I believed, even if I was misled at the time. That is the difference between me, along with 2.5 million other veterans, and the warmongering Zionist political elites and the cowards that support them on social media from their couches. Today we're on the brink of making the same mistake again. Trillions more spent, years more wasted, millions of lives taken, and for what? For Israel. But if you wake up and share this message, this time the whole world can know about it and push back before Israel takes us all into World War III.